Good morning, everybody. Did I make a joke?
Good evening.
Yeah, just trying to make a joke. Good evening, everybody. I would like to thank you all for joining to this evening. I know this is a Monday evening and you just wanted to be done from the work, but still the meeting and you joined it. We appreciate your time. And thank you for joining to this blood donations interaction program on the occasion of World Blood Donor Day and 12th anniversary of BDA Establishment Day. So our BDA is at 12 years old now. And what a slogan of the World Blood Donor Day: give blood and keep the world beating. I love that. I love that. And we have here current president of Blood Donors of America, Leela Dahal. From Vitalant, we have a senior donor recruitment representative, Whitney Nelson. Senior medical director, Mary Townsend. Carter Blood care consultant, Justin Lipchart. And from Carter Blood, we have Megan Watkins. And from Red Cross account managers, Janice Kafka. And we have several BDA executive members and life members. As I said, thank you everybody to join here. And I would like to have Mr. Leela Dahal to welcome everybody and then talk about the BDA.
Thank you. Thank you very much. BDA, Blood Donors America, BDA Joint Treasurer, Mr. Sriram Luintel. Thank you for having all of us and welcoming. Respected guest, Janice Kafka, Account Manager, American Red Cross. Whitney Nielsen, Senior Donor Recruitment Representative, Vitalant. Mary Townsend, Vitalant Senior Medical Director. Justin Lipford and Megan Watkins from Carter Blood, BDA Executive Officials, members, friends, and families. First of all, on behalf of Blood Donors of America, BDA Central Committee, I would like to welcome you all in today's interaction program. And thank you all very much for your time in this late hour of weekday to celebrate World Blood Donors Day and 12th BDA Establishment Day. Also, I want to thank all of donors for their life-saving efforts via blood donation, because this is the Donors Day as a World Blood Donors Day, and then in this special day. As you may know, and our Sriji already told, this year's World Blood Donors Day slogan from WHO is "Give blood and keep the world beating." According to WHO, this message highlights the essential contribution blood donors make to keep the world pulsating by saving lives and improving other health. So a special focus of this year's campaign will be the role of youth people, so young people. So like WHO is highlighting young people, they have ensuring the safe blood supply. And WHO also says the specific objective of this year's campaign are thank blood donors in the world and create wider public awareness of the need for regular unpaid blood donation, promote the community values of blood donation in enhancing community solidarity and social cohesion, encourage youth to embrace the humanitarian call to donate blood and inspire others to do so, and celebrate the potential of youth as partners in promoting health. So, in order to help WHO meet these goals, as we are also the blood donors, we thought like, okay, let's celebrate some way, and we decided to host an interaction program between blood donors like us and the blood banks, because the tie between us and the blood banks is what ensures the better blood supply. That's right. And then sometimes we feel that there is a little bit of disconnect. So we thought that let's use this very good day to go and do better there. So let me start with introducing the Blood Donors of America for especially the benefits of Janice and Mary and other who have not participated, but because Justin and Whitney have participated several times and they know already about us. But Blood Donors of America, BDA, is a non-profit 501(c)(3) volunteer organization, and it is established in 2009 and registered in the state of New York. And with the main goal of encouraging blood donors, as we thought, it may be better to do as a group rather than a single person, because as a group, we can make more difference. That's what with that goal it was established. We have a 19-member central committee and state level committees. We started as a central, but later which are divided in all different states so that people from different states can be joined in the same goal. And now there are more than 20 states with good activities, and our goal is, overall mission is to do in all 50 states, which of course has been a little bit slowed down with this pandemic, but now everything is a little better, so we are still going. And we had our third convention last month, and after that, our main focus is to go beyond where we are not already there. And by now, with BDA's initiative, we have collected a little less than 10,000 pints of blood. And I'll later show some slide if I'm allowed, or I can share the screen, but there is some there. And we keep track of all the donations happen throughout BDA, and also we share the non-confidential information available in our website at www.blooddonorsofamerica.org. So I encourage everyone to go and see if you want to know more about the blood donations. And we have by now we have 409 live members throughout the country, including world record holder in blood donation, John W. Sufford, who already donated 377 times, and few people here already know that. And he used to participate in all different programs that we are hosting, including one last month, our convention. So let me quickly show a couple of slides. Can I do that?
You should be able to. You are a host now.
So can you see that? See, so yeah, for marriage and Janice's benefit, I'm just showing quickly some of the slides. See, these are the live members we have in different states. Of course, many states don't have that many, but we're going. But overall, there are several states already there, and our the numbers are here in the slide. And also in terms of blood, we also did blood donations. As you can see, we break down it into different years and times, and also states. So overall, we're having the activities, and this is the 9,600 number up to April, and it has gone up a little bit since then. And especially summer is the time for doing all that. So I'm just closing now. And so the message I would like to give to blood banks this evening is that BDA wants to help you increase the number of volunteer donors so that there is always enough blood supply. We don't have hidden interest or anything whatsoever, because we're doing as a completely voluntary aspect, and basically it's helping blood banks. In that sense, we are kind of doing part of your work. So we work with local organizations in that, because we work with so many different local organizations, and we have done mega blood drives. We have also done synchronized blood drives. One of the biggest mega drive was in May 2019 with 135 pints of blood collected, with 194 people attempted in Dallas area. That was good. And also last year, in the midst of pandemic, we did the synchronized blood donations on 26th of September, with 21 cities all across USA in 16 different states, with 175 collected. It was incredible in such a difficult time. So we want to have those and increase further. So one thing I want to, and that's what let's go toward today's interaction program is, in some cases, so we have seen some sort of little difficulties in terms of continuing the blood donations. And I'd say, sorry, I have to say that is, with the Red Cross, American Red Cross, which mostly cover in the eastern part of the country, we kind of hit a little bit of hurdle. So, like for example, last year, like even this Saturday, when I was there for the donations with two of my friends, one of her didn't have the appointment exactly at the same time with the appointment, a little early. And then even though there are no other people, we requested, let's take her too. Then they says, no, we had to have the appointment in advance of time, and it had to be an exact same time. So that sort of hurdle, like since Red Cross calls for the blood supply and come and donate, but with a little bit of timing, let's don't make that such a difficult so that donors get discouraged. Similarly, we tried a couple of donations in Baltimore, that big area. I was part of that to organize, but they always wanted it should be finalized everything 2 months in advance. That's not always easy, right? And then one time in July 4th weekend in 2019, it was already planned and everything. I drove from here all the way 10 hours. And when I was there, like, no donation. What happened? They say, no, Red Cross said they couldn't have people, so it's cancer. So that sort of things discourages. So the overall idea is let's don't have that type of hurdle and have a little better donor to blood bank relationships, and whether there is a way we can enhance. That's the overall theme of today's discussion. And also a couple of things is about the travel restrictions we always talk about. Is there is a question always 3 years from Nepal and India, you shouldn't have gone there in 3 years. And sometimes we see that's very strict and sometimes a little loose. So is there a clear rule there? Because white is sometimes loose, white it is. So those sort of things, we want those to be addressed. And I don't want to take much time, so I hope we get those answers in tonight's talk from Dinesh and other Whitney, Justin, and we can have a better relationship and can recruit more and achieve the goal. So with that, I would like to end my my address. And once again, thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Dal, for your warm welcome and for providing a brief introductions about the BDA and what is the goal of the BDA. It's we all wanted to promote the new blood donors. We wanted to, encourage them and then bring them to the blood donations center so that when they donate at the first time, they feel achieved that I did something good for the community, right? And as he mentioned, sometimes we may see those kind of hurdles which discourage. And the main purpose of this today's interactions will be, that's the reason we are adding all 3 different blood collections organizations, like a blood Red Cross, Vitalant, and then Carter Blood. So all representatives are there, so we can do the interactions. And then if there is some things we need to learn from one or other organizations, we can learn from it and then follow that. So in the future, when the BDA try to, have the blood donations in a different states, then we would not have that kind of problem, right? Everybody agree with that? Okay. I think he also kind of fill out the part of the questions, but I would like to ask one question, and then it can go turn by turn. Either it's Mary, Whitney, or Janice, Justin, whoever want to take first, and then to go next and next. So my first questions will be, what are your area? What is your area? So which area you covers mostly, like which states you covers? And would you please clarify any criteria? Like, what are the criteria you have to be able to eligible blood donors? And what are the travel restrictions? When we get that all information now, so what we can do when we promote new blood donors next time, we can clarify it. And then, so also wanted to filter, if I can say that, filter that from, so when we talk to them, so we can say that, okay, when was the last time you were traveled? And then if they say it's or certain 6 months, 1 year, and if that is in the restrictions, we can say that, nope, sorry, you cannot do that. And then we can filter them so they don't have to drive all the way to the blood donation center and then reject it. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Whoever wants to start first, which volunteer?
I can speak to that a little bit. So this is Janice. So I'm Janice Kafka, and I work for the American Red Cross. I've been an account manager.
Janice, a little bit. Ajayji, you're sharing. Looks like your screen is shared, and I don't think we want to share that. Okay, there you go. Are you trying to do? Can you do without sharing first and then put it in there? Ajayji?
I'm listening. I was trying to share the Zoom in the Facebook.
No, Ajayji.
Right, you can do that first and then share, maybe, but you're actually sharing your screen.
No, actually, let them talk, Ajayji first. Can you get out of the screen and let's listen to them, and whatever you have to share, you're probably going to do on a later on when
Okay.
Sri asks you.
Okay, sure. I will make.
Oh,
Yeah, go
there
ahead.
you go. Janice, go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay. So I've been working for the Red Cross for almost 9 years in the state of Massachusetts, primarily southeastern Mass. And I personally cover an area of about 22 towns, including the town of Norwood, and that's where I met Mahesh, and he's been a big supporter locally of our blood program. The restrictions, you know, we are regulated by the FDA, the American Red Cross. So all of those regulations, you know, are issued by the FDA, and they are complicated and confusing and not always straightforward. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't know the answers until we are at a blood drive. So I did get a little clarification, and understanding the last 12 months, travel really hasn't been an issue because nobody has traveled. So that restriction has not even really come up. But I spoke with some of my collections partners today, and my understanding is if you travel to what is considered a malaria risk area, then you come back to the United States, you need to wait 3 months. That's a 3-month deferral now. It used to be a 12-month, and now it's a 3-month deferral.
Okay.
And the question being, what is deemed a malaria risk area? Honestly, we ask donors to call what we have, our donor client service support number, because they ask an awful lot of questions. They'll want to know, what time of year did you travel? Where did you travel exactly? Did you travel by plane? Did you get off the plane? Did you take a bus? Did you, you know, it's very complicated. There are some areas that are not considered malaria risk, and then there's no deferral. So the point is, not the staff won't have that answer readily available sometimes until the day of the blood drive, or we suggest that a donor call our support number, give them detailed information, and they will be instructed whether they can donate or not over a period of time, if that makes sense.
It does. And then thank you for clarifying that. Now we're even happy because it's a 3 months shorter now, coming to 3 months. But, you know, what I understand, those questions were complicated. We made a lot of compliments, or, you know, even I would say complain with the Vitalant too, right? So if Whitney remember that, you know, the questions were complicated, but when like donors complain about it, and then they'll listen about it, they have changed a lot. Just 2 days back, I went to the donating my blood plasma. I donated it, and when I was looking at that questions, it has been so solidified nowadays that, you know, they have like kind of yes/no questions, but also when you answer one question, then next questions comes up. So instead of having the multiple questions, I have seen a lot of changes in the Vitalant that has been changed. So, you know, and I'm pretty sure that the Red Cross is also working on that. So thank you for listening to that comment and, you know, changing that. And I want Whitney, do you want to go ahead and
Sure.
continue on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to first answer your question, I know you had asked what area we serve. So Vitalant actually is the largest independent blood bank in the US. We have 120 donation centers. Those are fixed site locations in the communities across the states that we serve. 120 donation centers across about 20 states. And then of course, outside of that, we have an even larger network with our mobile drives, thanks to our amazing blood drive coordinators and community groups such as Blood Donors of America. As far as the travel restriction goes, and Dr. Townsend, if you need to jump in and correct me, please do. The understanding is very similar to what Janice did specify, but there's two distinctions. There's traveling outside the US and visiting a malaria deferral region, and then there's moving to the US initially from an area that is considered a malaria concern region. So the travel is the same as what Janice said, which is 3 months upon your return. So say you returned tomorrow from an area that is considered a malaria concern region at that time, it would be 3 months from that day that you would have to wait to come out and donate blood. Now, if you're living in an area at that time deemed to be considered a malaria concern area, then there is a different type of restriction, and that's a 3-year restriction of blood donation. And I remember us encountering that in the past because it is a little complicated feeling at first when donors do encounter that restriction. That restriction is from the time that you move from that area to the US, we ask community members who are in that situation to please wait 3 years. And the difficult part is 3 years without return within that 3-year period to that malaria region.
Or any malaria region.
Thank you. Dr. Townsend, would you like to expand on that for me?
Glad to. Actually, I've been doing this 30 years. I've been on the donor history task force that develops the donor questionnaire. I've been on it the whole time. It started in 2000. At one point I was the chair. So this is my bread and butter. And I will be the first to admit it is confusing because there is the distinction between have you lived in a malarial country? And even that is confusing because there are malarial countries and there are malarial areas. So let's take Mexico. Mexico is deemed a malarial country because there is malaria in some areas. But you could go to Acapulco and that's not a malarial area. So that even makes it more complex. So the reason that they take this approach is because there is a phenomenon known as people who live in a malarial area can have partial immunity to malaria. And so what happens is, let's say you were raised in a malarial area in Mexico. You move to the United States. For 3 years, you cannot donate unless you have been for 3 years not in any malarial country. So let's say you moved and after a year, you decided to take a trip to Vietnam. They have malarial areas. So once again, that clock starts over again, that 3-year period starts over again. So, and the real problem is because of this partial immunity. So people, once they move and you hit that 3-year period, then you're good to go. You can go back, you can visit other malarial areas and come back and just have to meet the 3-month period. And I remember we did the flow charts on this. It's the most difficult flow chart we did for any question on the donor questionnaire. So I hope that helps. And I hope that shows why there is confusion. We do all use the same malaria information, the Red Cross, everybody, we use what's published in the Yellow Book from the CDC. And it's specific to malaria. And it does change. And then the rules change. So I understand your frustration as donors, I really do. And we try to do what we can to make it easy, but it's not.
Sriji, can I interact on this question?
Absolutely.
Please.
Go ahead.
This is especially for the Janice and Mary and Whitney, you can support. 3-month period when they leave more than 3 years in the United States of America and went back to their country and came back 3 months ago, they can donate, right? Am I correct, Mary?
Yes.
So
You are correct.
it must have so much confusion We just spoke yesterday with the BDA people and some other people around who are doing blood donations and facilitating blood donations. I have so much experience. Maybe that's our fault, our community people's fault. They're not explaining enough how, when, where to donate the blood. I have experience. I did a mega blood drive. Mega, we call mega if we collect more than 50, 60 pint of blood. So I call that mega because we had a 46 pint in Boston. It's so hard. Janice knows that's so hard to get 50 people. It was in a Medford, Janice, Medford Shivalaya temple. The bank manager told me how many years I'm not supposed to go India to do the blood donation. I said 1 year. And then he went there, he was not there 3 years. And he went there, give him a test, give the test, and the guy over there, crew over there, crew manager denied him because it has to be 3 years. So there must have big confusion. That guy lived here when from high school, and he's a bank manager of Leader Bank, and he went India 2 years ago. Now the guy saying into the station that no, you must have to be 3 years.
No.
So that's the big confusing that we had. I even had that confusing thing. Because we were thinking, if I go to Nepal, Nepal has several places.
Area.
North side of the Kathmandu, no malaria.
Right.
South side India border has malaria. They've been saying that they have a malaria. So in a beginning, they used to say, if you went to Kathmandu, didn't go to India border, you're ready to do the blood donation. If you travel not less than 1 year before. So that was big confusing, even with the Red Cross. So I'm going to tell Janice that it has to be clear next time, because 3 months, people is going every year and 2 years. So they're not donating because they think 3 years period, we have to obey the rule. It was actually 3 months. So what you have to say, Janice? Unmute yourself, Janice.
Finding the right button.
There we
Go
go.
ahead.
There you go.
Well, Dr. Townsend sounds like the expert on this. My understanding that 3 month is relatively new. That the travel deferral was 12 months originally, and now it's 3. That's just for that travel. And then, the other part is the what we call the residency restriction. You would have had to have been in a non-malarial country for 3 consecutive years. And then the travel back and forth, then it's only imposing that 3-month restriction. So you know what, Mahesh, maybe one of our collection staff got it wrong, unfortunately. But we always have backup support. We have the donor client service number. And I think maybe it'll be easier now that it is 3 months. That eases that restriction and it gives more people the opportunity to donate more frequently, I think.
And I agree with you, Janice. I actually do think it's a really good thought if you travel frequently back and forth to an area where there is malaria to call ahead. I know we have a phone bank called Donor Eligibility, and any donor can call and find out, am I eligible to donate? And they pull up the maps and they ask you all the questions that you were talking about. Where did you go? I mean, and it's confusing. You're actually allowed to travel through a malarial area for 24 hours and you're not even considered to have been there. So you can come donate and you don't have to wait 3 months. So the rules that they put in place are so complicated. It invites this confusion. So I agree with you, Janice. Call ahead, answer all the questions, say, am I eligible before I drive 80 miles to come donate?
Absolutely. And thank you, Dr. Townsend, for emphasizing that, because that was the other piece is, as you all do partner with us and all these other blood banks, and you interact with individuals like myself or Janice or other individuals, please lean on us as your resource for helping address some of those questions ahead of time. We do have a wonderful phone number that does help support that. And we also now, Vitalant is really excited to share that we also have a chat feature on our webpage that you can reach out and speak to a representative through our webpage through chat as well. So there are a lot of resources and we try to do our best. And I'm so sorry to hear that there has been confusion. It sounds like across the board, right? Across all of our blood banks because of the nature of the restrictions. So thank you so much for continuing to seek to learn from us.
Absolutely, and it's exciting to, as you just said, that there's a chatting options available. Is it 24/7?
Say that again.
Is that chatting option is 24/7?
I believe it is. It's a fairly new feature, Shri. So I will be honest with you in saying that I would need to double check on if it's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week chat service. But I can find out what that response time looks like for you all and get back to you.
I'm seeing Mary's headset, so maybe it is not 24/7.
You're
So it
muted.
depends on who's managing that chat feature. I know the medical affairs department that answers the donor deferral hotline is available during set hours, and they're pretty lengthy because we cover East Coast to West Coast. But I don't know who answers the chat feature. So Whitney, you're probably much more likely to know the answer than me.
Okay. And Marcy, it looks like you.
For you.
Awesome, sure. Thank you. Marcy, it looks like you are asking the question.
No, same thing. I think Dr. Leela is asking something, and other people, you have a problem when you do the camp, please ask questions.
Or any questions, if you have any questions, please do ask in the chat. I will go ahead and facilitate that.
Yeah, also you can ask in the chat too. My other one more question I have is language barrier. What is the?
Let's hear. I think let's hear in this topic. Let's hear from Justin for the Carter blood stand, and then go to the next one. How about that?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think that's a good idea.
Justin?
Justin? Yes. Hello, everyone. And let me really thank Dr. Townsend for giving that insight as far as the confusion that follows every time we run into that issue. I've been with Carter Blood Care for 15 years now, and trust me, it's a changing landscape as far as the travel. There's always something new or a different wrinkle coming from FDA or the CDC. So thank you again for that insight. It's really helpful because I didn't quite have the same understanding just from reading the information. But to answer the question that you all asked initially, Carter Blood Care is a primary provider of blood and blood services in North, Central, and East Texas. We cover 52 counties in the Northern Texas and Eastern and Central Texas area. We have a rather large footprint and cover quite a bit of geography. Carter Blood Care strives to have roughly about 800 donors a day. Of course, with COVID, that has been a challenge. The local BDA has been extremely supportive during the pandemic. As we emerge from the pandemic, we're looking forward to doing some things that we did in the past that were quite productive, like the mega blood drives and so forth. Now, as far as the travel restrictions, I think that topic has been pretty much covered, and those rules apply to all of us around the country. We all have the same challenge. We do have a support service similar to what the other blood centers offer, where a person can call in advance to discuss their travel history, just to save themselves from having to make a trip to the blood site and then be turned away. So we do offer that support service. Our phlebotomist can answer that on site, but we try to make everything as smooth as possible, that there's no surprises when a person comes in to donate. And we do encourage people to call in advance to find out if their travel history or travel is going to be a problem prior to donating.
Awesome, thank you, Justin.
Can I add one thing to that?
Absolutely.
It doesn't just apply to travel. I know our donor eligibility hotline, you can call in if you had a recent health issue, if you have a heart condition, you can call with health issues and say, I have this, I have this, I had that. Am I eligible to donate? I'm on this medication. Can I donate? So, certainly, donors should avail themselves of those services.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary.
I'm taking my question this time, I think. Language barrier. Lots of people from Nepal, India, and those peoples has a language problem. All the CDC has a guideline, and we have to sit down for like we're applying job and going through all the tests. They don't understand. I have a live problem before that. Some of our volunteers who were interested to do the blood donation failed the test. Failed the test means they didn't understand, and then we tried to help them. But the crew said that you cannot do that because it has to go through the CDC, or you have to let Red Cross know before even you come to the camp. That way we can hire one of the translator for you. So my question is, there is no relative, when you go take your mom to the hospital, you cannot help your mom because you're relative. In the blood donation, we are all friends. Why don't we help them in their language problem? Why not? I have problem with the Red Cross, so I'll get that to Janice first, and then you guys can answer. Janice, go ahead.
Yeah, Mahesh, again, I'm not super expert on this. My understanding is that we, meaning the Red Cross, if requested, can provide translators, interpreters, and it's all to maintain confidentiality is my thought, that you can't, that would compromise confidentiality. Even though you're a friend of the blood donor and you're interpreting, you're then being exposed to their confidential information. So I don't know if anyone has anything to add to that, but that's my understanding, that we can request a translator.
That's accurate. That's exactly, when you go in, you're answering very sensitive questions that are very personal, and some of them are very pointed. And we need donors to be absolutely honest. And if you have a friend sitting next to you and you're asked a very sensitive question, you may not feel comfortable in answering honestly because your friend is there. It certainly applies to family. Now, there are things that can be done. Sometimes we have people bring their own translators, but they have to be a certified translator.
I see. Thank you, Mary, and thank you, Janice. I completely understand from my another point of view as well. There are several different personal questions, like, are you pregnant? I mean, just making an example of like that, right? And then for the friend, they might not want to answer or something like that. And that is, I think we definitely have to honor that as well. Do you have any other questions on that, Mahesi? Or is that clear?
May I add one thing with that? When individuals are fortunate enough to have the availability to have a certified non-related interpreter, please note that is for throughout the entire process, and that's for the safety and security and experience for the individual who's benefiting from the interpreter services, so that they are comfortable throughout the entire process with us and understanding each step, and if there are any additional questions that need to be asked during the process.
Okay. All right.
Can I add one thing? It's also, I mean, the confidentiality is for patient safety. They're going to get this unit of blood. But, you know, it also applies to donor safety. If a donor goes in and they have an adverse reaction and you don't have someone there who can talk to them and ask, how are you feeling, and give them instructions, then you're putting the donor at risk. So it's for donor safety too.
Mhm. Siran.
Yeah, I think Bhushanji, you are asking something. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you for your answering, and we have cleared something which we have been doubtful. And it will give very helpful to us. And in this regards, all these things, the BDA has a 4 vice president in different region, mountain region, east, west, and central. And my question is to all of you, the agencies, the blood banks, that what should be the role of the BDA? We are doing which we know we are doing like that. But in your opinion, what should be the role to develop this donation program or the volunteer blood donation motivation in these all facts? What should we have to do? I want a suggestion from your side. Thank you.
I would like to jump in and answer something that I've been considering for the Texas BDA. We have been very successful prior to the pandemic hosting blood drives throughout the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Extremely successful. BDA is quite active. They help us in time of critical need. They help us with regularly scheduled blood drives. Now, the challenge was during the pandemic, all of that disappeared. As we emerged from the pandemic, a couple of thoughts that I have considered approaching the local BDA with is not only resuming the regular blood drives, which will be a tremendous help. We can always depend on them to come through for us. But I also would like to see BDA get more involved in other blood drives like community events or things that are scheduled throughout the Metroplex that need support on the recruitment side, because I think it's a great opportunity to spread the message of BDA and to bring in additional donors. So I think it's a win-win if we can look at not only blood drives sponsored by BDA, but blood drives that are in the community that may be significant in size, that sometimes we need additional support. Like for instance, we have a blood drive coming up with the Texas Rangers, which is going to be a 3-day blood drive next month. It would be great to have someone from BDA, even if it's a matter of just explaining to them the importance of not just coming out that time, but coming out again, and why regular donations are important to sustain the blood supply. So I would look forward to having a more interactive relationship with the local BDA, not just for their blood drives, but also for the vast amount of community blood drives that we anticipate coming on board in the coming months.
Absolutely. Thank you, Justin. I think we have executive members from Texas. They are listening, you as well. And thank you for your suggestions. We'll definitely try to see that what we can do to improve that, and also participating with the different communities blood drive. You know that, and you mentioned that, during the pandemic, the blood drive motivations was dropped down, and then so a lot of people, they didn't want it to come out because they kind of fear that what's going to happen, and especially with this COVID virus, they were not unsure, and even I myself was kind of afraid, and I did not donate for a couple of months. But after a couple of months, when I started going to Vitalant, I saw that how they have set up for the people, and they do the sanitizations every personal donations completed. They do the sanitization, and I started going again and again. So that has to be educated to our community as well, for our people. Since we are kind of now open and then no longer mask required, I think more and more people willing to join, and then we can do like the blood drives, what we were doing before. And also it was a kind of the event that we could also get together and then chit chat as well. So that has a cultural benefits when we do the blood donations together and when we hold the event. So I am very hopeful that it's going to continue pretty soon with our all community members, all our life members. And as I said, I think if anybody wanted to talk about what Justin just said from the Texas regions, you are welcome. Ajayji, I think you're from Texas too, right?
I'm Rotan.
Yeah,
Okay.
so then let's hear from Whitney, another area, if any other comment there, right? So,
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Well, first, I just want to say there's many things that Blood Donors of America is doing that is just the right way to be partnering to help make that life-saving impact with blood donation. Your mission is exactly the type of mission that is what we're hoping for support within the communities. When it comes to blood donation with Vitalant and Blood Donors of America, we've been really fortunate currently to have a very strong and active relationship with the Colorado chapter, and knowing that the Colorado chapter has the national footprint just as we do. One of the things that we would really love to invite Blood Donors of America to do is to connect with us, with myself, so that we can have some conversations about, creating that deep connection that we've been able to do here in Colorado, providing that reciprocal support of saving lives together through blood donation by really supporting those chapters that we do have the ability to serve as a network. In addition, I want to echo what Justin was saying. I think, as blood banks, we all have very similar needs as to how our amazing partners within the community can help support. Some ways that you all are able to help support are things that you're already doing, but of course, individual blood donation, bringing a friend or family member, hosting a mobile drive, or supporting an existing drive, just as Justin was describing, as well as taking advantage of our virtual blood drive program that we have as well, which is this wonderful program that was coming out of the COVID-19 environment. We launched it in November of 2020 to make it more accessible for individuals to feel safe donating and doing that in a unified way that also was on their time, their convenience at any location. And so that would be another opportunity that no matter whether you're able to host a mega drive or an individual person coming in and donating using that virtual link, those are the many different ways that you can help support. And then I've also had the opportunity to participate in education programs like this with you all. So continuing to invite us to support that education, including blood donation types. As I heard Sri mention, he came out and he donated platelets and plasma with us, allowing us to partner together in not only encouraging blood donors, but helping blood donors understand how they can really maximize their impact in so many different ways. That's red blood cells, platelets, plasma, whole blood. And then lastly, another way that we would love to have your support, which I think is a strength that you can bring to the table, is blood donors are so critical to helping support the sustained need for blood donation. I'm sure some of you may have seen if you are in an area that Vitalant serves, but on this day, World Blood Donor Day, we came out with a critical need for blood donation. And we are asking individuals to donate individually, or if you see blood drives in your area, band together and schedule your appointments to come out and donate in the coming weeks. And also to encourage those that you work with. Maybe they're not a member of Blood Donors of America, but that doesn't mean that they won't want to join hands in saving lives. We really rely on volunteer support to inspire those that we are not in front of as a blood bank to come out and donate.
Awesome. Thank you, Whitney. And I would like to give a chance to Janice if you have any. Oh, so Mary?
Oh, I was just going to say one thing, and I think one of the places that we can use a lot of help is new donors and young donors. As I look around this chat room, I see people who are not necessarily in that population.
Are you saying I am old,
Sure,
Mary?
all of us. But, I mean, you think about it, the population is aging, blood donors, the blood donor generation is aging and becoming blood recipients. And we need to keep sort of fresh blood coming in with new donors. Once you get them in the door the first time and they have a good experience, they come back. And then young donors to get them into the habit. So you guys would be wonderful to help promote.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mary. So we
Let
do
me
have the
comment.
student association group in CU Boulder. We had a blood donations with them as well. So there are some students already must be in the pipeline of the Vitalant that they are regularly doing. So, you know, students are a student. They don't want to be connected with any company all the time, or they need to report or anything, right? But I'm pretty sure there must be people in the pipeline already. And I'm hearing the noise.
On 1 minute on that. We also have a youth wing. I think Rajanji couldn't join today, but we have a youth wing, so they're working on it to have a pipeline. So we're on that. Thanks. Yeah. So
When we have a wing, we'll fly it.
Yeah. So I think
Right.
Jenny's turn now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Janice, do you want to go ahead
Yeah,
and
I was just going to add, you know, I think all the blood banks are in search of new donors. The Red Cross in particular, we have a lot of leadership programs. We have high school scholarship programs, but working with an organization like Blood Donors of America, you can maybe help be the link to some of the youth, whether it's, you know, your own children or other organizations where you are associated with youth groups. You know, if you can kind of broker that and facilitate those relationships, I think that would lead to, you know, supporting other programs and getting maybe some younger donors through the door. So
I think that is an excellent idea and excellent information. Thank you, Janice. Definitely we'll communicate with you how we can participate together and have our youth upcoming blood donors can participate and have a win-win situations there. I think Justin mentioned, so is there any other questions? I think we're
One thing
about
to
in the time.
say is like we're in hour, so we told in hour. So can we continue a little bit, or how about the timeline of the especially guests?
Which is 1 hour.
Yes.
If there's a questions we want to extend,
hour,
otherwise I think we want to end.
No, we'll have, but like a timing wise, is it okay for next like half an hour or 10-15 minutes?
It's okay.
Okay, thanks. So so is anyone else have? Otherwise, I have one specific question to Janice, more for Red Cross. Here, as we have Vitalant, Carter Blood, and Justin and Whitney already mentioned, the type of relationship we have with the BDA and support, like both ways, like anytime when Justin needed blood, he called Mr. Siva, and then there'll be people there, same way I think in Denver. But we kind of don't have that type of relationship with Red Cross. And is there any that type of program or anything we have to do to basically to get ourselves as a recognized organization? And even if I go to somewhere else and Red Cross and there can be not counted as a BDA, I think at Vitalant and Carter have given us some sort of number or something, right? So something like that, maybe connected better or closer. That way, then we can encourage more of our people.
You know, so given that, you know, the Red Cross collects blood, you know, nationwide in almost all the states, you know, I can only work with the BDA and their presence, say in Massachusetts, and maybe that's my link with Mahesh. So I can personally establish a relationship in a specific area, but if, you know, I can also probably connect you to other places nationwide where you have a bigger presence and you're trying to connect with Red Cross representatives. You know, personally, I have a vested interest in developing in this area, particularly in, you know, Southeastern Mass where I work. So I don't think anyone is going to deny or object. We just have to sort of find each other.
Right.
And you know, for me, Mahesh is local to me, so maybe he and I can work on directing some of that.
Awesome.
Good. Like I told already when in my address is like we had a real trouble hosting blood donation campaign in Baltimore area. Like 2 times we had to cancel. We had enough donors, everybody staying there, but we couldn't get the people or the vehicle from Red Cross. So we don't want that to happen, right? Because it's not that easy for donors to go. We have to put them like I gave the other example is 2 days before when I went to my local station. She was a little late based on her schedule, and I requested so much, and the people were there, but they know we don't want to take it. So, like that type of things don't help much, right? So, if anything can be done, that would be good. Thanks.
On this regard, Dr. Dahal, I have one question with Janice Red Cross. Ms. Janice, is there any way we can ask you for the link on certain area that our president or vice president can speak to them and explain what kind of organization is BDA? We had some trouble with the Baltimore people. They tried to organize blood drives, and American Red Cross really did not cooperate. Either our people could not mention what type of organization ours is, or they didn't understand, or whatever happened. We had trouble with that area and some other areas. So is there any way we can have the numbers for the people that we can talk, like our president or vice president or some other people can explain them what kind of organization BDA is, so we can build a relation?
Yeah, I'm happy to help you with that. Again, we're so specialized by region. I mean, we follow national guidelines, CDC, FDA, but we, you know, our mobile blood operations, you know, are so specific to certain regions. But absolutely, if you guys are trying to connect with a certain city within a state, I can get you the name of someone that you know, that you can connect with very easily.
Awesome.
Yes, please. Yes, so we'll contact with Mr. Mahesh, and we'll get contact with you,
Sure.
whatever we need to contact to certain city or state. Thank you so much. That was my question.
Boston comes first, Mahesh. You know that.
Mahesh had
Thank
to
you
leave.
so much.
Mahesh had to leave.
Awesome. Thank you, Janice. And thank you, SMG, for the wonderful questions. So that we have a way of contact where we can contact if we need any other places, you know, we can ask Mahesh ji, and Janice will provide the contact information for us. Is there any other questions in the house?
Well, the program went so well. I was driving. I had to drop some of my donors today. We had a blood drive here in Lubbock, and
Oh, awesome.
of them. So I was on my driving, so I could not hear all the way because of the signal loss, this and that. So part of the program, I heard it was excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, SMG. Yes, I can second that or third that, whatever we need to. Definitely this program is more helpful, more informational. And then all information will help us to have a better understanding about the criteria, better understanding about the travel restrictions. And then, you know, so most of the time I would say no one has to be denied from the door and come back when they go to for a donation. If there is any other questions, I would like to thank everybody. I know here are a lot of people. I do not have a time to say the name of everybody's. I think Nanda ji just joined as well. But I would like to thank you, everybody, for your time. And I would like to thank you all guest speakers from different blood organizations, blood collections organizations, Vitalant, Red Cross, and Carter Blood. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you
One
very
last
much.
thing I want to give 1 minute is if maybe we want to have this type of interaction a little more frequent. So if you guys are available, you may want to do at least around this time or maybe somewhere in mid, we may get some other ideas and things. So hopefully you guys will have some time for us.
I would say yes, but I cannot say on behalf of somebody. So please go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Count me in.
Awesome.
Yeah, just
Okay,
reach
thank
out as you always do. And if we're able and available to support, we're happy to.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so it's a
All right.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, everyone,
Thank you,
and have a
everyone.
great night.
Thank you.
Now the time for the drink, right?
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.